What's going on, people? So, it's time for a little bit of the Halo update. Last week, as y'all know, we got our first look at Halo Infinite gameplay, and yeah, that was definitely some Halo. Now, don't get it twisted. I like Halo. I'm still looking forward to Halo Infinite, but that showcase really left a lot to be desired. But thankfully, 343 has responded to a lot of the things and given some insight on some of the stuff they are going to be doing with Halo Infinite. And just today, in fact, we actually learned a really major piece of information about Halo going forward as a franchise. So let's dive into it. What we're going to be reading here first is actually coming from the official Halo Waypoint blog, which is where 343 updates everybody on things happening with the Halo franchise. It's a good way of interacting with folks in the community. And with Infinite, this being their major showcase, they answered a lot of questions such as, will split screen be included in the game? Is the battle rifle making a return? And it's just some small stuff here, like, how do you pronounce this right there? Oh, this is how you do it. But the most important thing that we can take away from this entire interview is the acknowledgement of Craig. Yes, y'all know the Craig memes have just been absolutely taken over the internet, and I love it because Craig is love, Craig is life, and if 343 really wants to make this game the best Halo possible, they gotta honor Craig. They really got to. I don't know what way they're gonna do it, but 343, if you're watching it, I don't think you are, give us some Craig representation because we need it. Craig deserves more. Now, that being said, let's actually dive into serious journalistic commentary with the first major piece in regards to Halo Infinite's visuals. The visuals in Halo Infinite really were not all that. I mean, they do look better in the 4K stream. They really do. If you're just judging Halo Infinite based off of what was live streamed, it's not going to look great. So if you watch the standalone video, which is like 4K 60, it does look infinitely, no pun intended, better. That being said, it still doesn't look that impressive. For a game that is the marquee franchise on Xbox, this is pimping out your new console, and it doesn't look that much better to stuff that's available. That is a problem. So that's what 343 talked about. They talked about how stylistically it's very different as opposed to Halo 4, 5, and Halo Wars 2, which I can agree with. I can understand. Art style is very subjective for a lot of people. Some people like it, some people hate it. I actually don't mind the Halo Infinite art style as a whole. My biggest problem was that just everything surrounding the art style looked very low quality. The texture pop-ins, all that stuff. But there might be a reason why that was the case. So in regards to the build for Halo Infinite, it's running off of a game that was several weeks old. Yeah, so this unfortunately goes contrary to what some of the rumored insiders were saying, how, oh, this is a build from like 3 to 6 months back. Yeah, this is only a few weeks ago, which, again, things can change from this showcase into the launch of the game, but I'm not going to be holding my breath for some type of a drastic overhaul, because it'd be different if they showed off Halo Infinite, like let's just say in 2018, and it looked a little rough, but they got 2.5 years to work on it. This is just a few months towards launch, and there's already all the restrictions happening, work at home. I mean, we kind of have to just start accepting that this is what we're going to get. It's going to look a little better, and the things that they are going to be pimping out, such as 4K 60, things like that, might be the reason why they went towards this. But the elephant in the room is, maybe should they have made this game next gen exclusive, just Xbox Series X and PC, and forgo the original Xbox VCR. I mean, at first I was thinking like, hey, you know what, if the games come out and it starts having problems, then yeah, we can have that conversation. But if not, then hey, I think it's just people getting mad for no reason. This right here kind of scares me. But again, I'm still excited for the game. We'll see what happens come release. Right? So something else that might, I guess, piss some people off in regards to if Halo Infinite is going to have a public beta. They say they're trying their best on the situation because they know people love Halo, but with the whole situation of work at home due to COVID-19, that is kind of throwing a wrench in their plans. They're probably still going to do like smaller stuff with a private group of people in the community and giving feedback that way, but the optics of this being Halo, this is Microsoft's biggest franchise. I think people really underestimate why folks are kind of giving 343 a lot of flack, because Halo, there was a time where Halo was like the biggest franchise in all of gaming. Like, I remember back when Halo 3 was getting ready to come out, like people were just through the roof excited for it, and then just to see it come to this where it's like, well, what do you expect? It looks good for Halo. I gotta say that kind of, it's a little disheartening. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if you guys want to read up on the full interview, it's going to be linked down below in the video description. Now moving into the second piece, which is kind of really surprising, because I don't think that 343 had initially wanted to announce it so soon. But it is, of course, referring to this whole Halo evolution as a platform. You guys remember how they said Halo Infinite is not just going to be a game that comes out and then we're going to work on the next Halo. It's going to come out 2 years later. You know, the community wouldn't be fragmented and divided. So what do? We just make Halo the platform. And with this 10-year plan, this is how we're going to support it. We have finally gotten new information on that because, boom, straight from Twitter themselves, Halo is for everyone. We can confirm Halo Infinite multiplayer will be free to play and support 120 frames per second on Xbox Series X, with more details to be shared at a later date. This is a major bombshell news. So talking about this whole idea of Halo being a platform, you know, being supported for, 10 years. That's something we've seen a lot of people in the industry doing. You know, of course, Destiny was the first one to really bring it into the forefront. But, with games like Fortnite, Apex Legends, Call of Duty Warzone, we're seeing a lot of these games that just come out and they don't necessarily have sequels. They just keep evolving and adding new seasons and fixing some things. And it's really, really paid a lot of these companies dividends. Like, just seeing the amount of support from people who just love Fortnite and Call of Duty, it's insane, because there used to be a time where people would buy those games every year for $60. Then they'll buy the season pass and they'll keep doing that. Now they don't even buy the game. They go ahead and download it, and then they spend all of that money on this game, and it keeps getting supported long term. Halo, I think that this is the best route they could have gone, making it free to play, making it compete and contend with all those other games. I think that's the only way this game really could have thrived. You know what I'm saying? Because nowadays, like, all of those biggest titles, the ones that are the most popular, are free to play. Of course, you have some exceptions, like some of those games that are like really more hardcore. They might just have a small barrier of entry for the price, and then you go from there. But the fact remains is that no one's really selling those $60 multiplayer experiences, and then just 2 years later they come out with the next iteration of them. So this right here, I understand where they're coming from with this, but I'm really going to be interested to see how they're going to differentiate and distinguish like the value of Halo, because they're still selling the game for $60. I know a lot of people say, well, you don't have to worry about this because it's on Game Pass. Sure, but a lot of people still are going to buy Halo and not subscribe to Game Pass. What are they going to be getting with the $60 release that's going to justify their purchase? Campaign? I know people like the Halo campaigns, but I don't think anyone's going to rush out there to buy, an 8-hour Halo campaign for $60 and just get the same multiplayer that they're releasing standalone. I don't think a lot of people are going to be invested in that. Maybe if the full release has it, so like, let's just say you have the free-to-play multiplayer version, and then with the full release you get access to like the battle passes and Forge and a lot of modes like that. Maybe that'll be a way to give value to the full release, or subscribing to Game Pass, whichever way you want to go about it. But if it's literally just the multiplayer and you're paying $60 for the campaign, that's what kind of worries me. But again, they're going to be talking more about this at a later date. It's funny because I think their hand was forced to announce this, because there was a toy that came out confirming that Halo Infinite will be 120 FPS and it will have free-to-play multiplayer. So once that got out there, I think because they wanted to control the narrative and the conversation, they're like, you know what? Let's just come out here and announce it ourselves. I think that they're still working about all the details and statistics of how they're going to handle things behind the scenes. But for now, they can just say that, hey, Halo multiplayer, free to play, 120 FPS on Xbox. That is cool. But it does add some fuel to the fire, however. With Halo, Microsoft's marquee title being free to play, this kind of lends credence to maybe the game being free to play is going to go hand in hand with Microsoft bringing down an Xbox Live paywall. Now, I'm not saying they're going to make Xbox Live Gold free, but I think at the very least they have to bring down that arbitrary paywall for free-to-play titles, because if they bring that down and people get more invested into Halo and then they start spending money on battle passes and things like that, I think that'll be a good way to justify not having that paywall that really shouldn't be there in the first place. I mean, PlayStation doesn't have a paywall for free-to-play titles, neither does Nintendo. And when PC multiplayer in general is free, Xbox has got to do something before this new generation launches. So we'll see what potential ramifications it has going forward. A lot of people are concerned that, oh, this means they're going to fill it with microtransactions and loot boxes. They confirmed that there are not going to be any loot boxes, surprise mechanics, things like that. But I think microtransactions will exist because it is just the nature of the beast. So provided they are not crazy intrusive, I think this game can thrive. But if they start doing things that really affect the balancing of the ecosystem, I think that'll be the problem. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. So that's my little bit of a Halo news roundup for y'all. I just wanted to speak on a couple of things there because it was interesting to me, and I think that we do need to have an open and honest dialogue and conversation about Halo Infinite. I mean, it's one thing to be really excited about something, but if you don't critique it just because it's your favorite franchise, I think that's very disingenuous. At the same time, if you're just overtly negative about it, saying this game is trash because of this, like, come on, we're all getting too old for this. You know, we can be critical when the time comes, and at the same time, we can give credit where credit is due. So, like, I applaud 343 coming out and admitting that, yeah, the graphics are an issue, and at the same time, them wanting to better themselves. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all today. From me to you for now, my name is NGS signing out. Like always, I will catch you guys later. Peace.